Hello ladies and gentlemen, Panzer here, and it is finally out. F1 Manager 22, the game they should have been making a long time ago. I got a key from Frontier to play this game, and I'm playing it before it's out right now. So of course you're seeing this after it's out. This is being played before it's out, so it doesn't have the day one patch yet. So any bugs or anything that you're going to see right now, that is mainly down to the fact that, yeah, the day one patch isn't available yet, because this is before day one. Have I said that enough times? Let's get into the game. So, one thing about this game is there is a lot of copyrighted content in it, so I will be cutting a lot. They do have the option to hide or not play any licensed music, which includes things like the F1 theme. And I gotta say, hearing or seeing the F1 intro, because I do watch a lot of the races, and seeing the exact same intro that you see on TV without that music is so strange, but this is the world that we live in with copyright and so on. Now, before we get into it, I do have to point out, they have really, like, I guess they use some sort of scanning technology or something, because the drivers, you're seeing them flash up in the background, the drivers are sort of uncanny valley, where they look exactly how they do in real life. To an extent. Lewis Hamilton, of course, well, he looks exactly like Lewis Hamilton, but when they animate, it kind of, something seems a bit not right. Like, look at George Russell here. He just, something doesn't seem right. It's really, really close to real, but just something seems a bit off, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but that is the definition of Uncanny Valley right there. And you can see, of course, Mr. Fernando Alonso, who is actually leaving Alpine this year, which, I mean, the game was in development before that happened, so, and we don't know who his replacement is, so that's going to be interesting. I do wonder, because this is a management game and it continues out throughout further seasons, how that's going to play out, whether or not they're going to introduce the driver changes between seasons. I don't know if that's going to happen. Am I nerding out a little bit too much about F1 right now? Probably. Let's move on. Now, this may come as a surprise to a lot of people. I'm a McLaren fan. And it's mostly because of this man here, Daniel Ricciardo, who is really, really nicely modeled in this game. And it's really sad that he's not going to be with McLaren anymore. I don't know where he's going to go. I really hope he doesn't retire. But we're going to be playing with McLaren for this playthrough, so, you know, spoiler alert for the McLaren playthrough of this game. Possibly. Alright, we gotta choose our name. So, we got a forename and a surname. Does anybody actually use the term forename anymore? Isn't it just first name? Alright, and I've gone with the name Seymour Butts because I'm mentally 12 years old. Anyway, let's go. Alright, and here we go. So, this is the main management screen. First things first, you got a welcome. Welcome to the team. There is really not a lot to do at the very, very beginning. Now, the first race coming up is Bahrain. We do want to make sure that we are well prepared for that. So let's have a look at... Well, first we're going to look at the performance targets, where we're supposed to be, because these are our sponsors, and what we're supposed to be hitting for those. So you can actually change some of these things. So right now, our qualifying targets, we have to reach Q2. We can change that to we reach Q3 and get an even better reward, or... But we are going to lose money if we do that. If we don't do that, rather. And we can also set guarantees for the different race positions. So we can do like a fastest lap, or we can guarantee a finishing position. And right now, it's by default, you can see on the right side there, it says our guaranteed position, or our incentivized position is 8th. So if we don't do anything and we don't get 8th, we don't lose any money. But if we guarantee something, then we could lose money for it. And that's sort of how sponsors work. You have the sponsor position that you have to meet to get extra money, but you can guarantee extra things. And it's sort of gambling, high risk, high reward. Like if you want to set a qualifying position and say, I want to finish on at least second. You know, you can see the risk is going up. It's a maximum of 44,000 loss, but we got a potential reward of 178,000. And that's added on to that other position of reaching Q2, so we don't want to do that. So right now, if we do everything right, we reach Q2, we finish at least in 8th with one of the drivers, and we continue on a streak after that, finishing at least in 10th, so 2 races in a row, we get a total reward of 748,000. Which in the grand scheme of things for F1 is not a lot of money. Now, let's go and have a look at our cars, so we can develop some parts. We can start we've got no projects going on right now. Let's go and design a part. Hopefully we can get a part done before the race. It's in 11 days. I don't think we're going to be able to do that. Now, looking at the recommendations here, the ones that are crucial are the front wing. We have to get a good front wing. And our current front wing, let's see, ranking on the grid. Current front wing is 9th and 15th on the grid. We're actually pretty terrible for that. So we may want to design something. So we could do that. And wind tunnel testing. Let's do 10 hours of wind tunnel testing. And that should bring us up to 5th and 9th here, 11th, 9th, and 5th, 11th here. So overall, everything's improving. You get slightly better cornering overall. Just kind of want that. Now, we want more medium speed at the expense of everything else. Medium speed corners. Low speed cornering improved overall. You can kind of see like how much that changes. It's pretty in-depth, all of this. I'm going to improve brake cooling, but it comes at the expense of some airflow sensitivity here. I think brake cooling is fine. Having that be an overall improvement there. And I think just medium speed cornering overall is probably a good idea. And how long is this going to take? It's going to take 51 days to complete. I don't know if that's going to be good enough. If we do rush. Okay, so we can spend extra hours to make the design even better. So we may get a better value overall, but it's going to cost us a lot of money. Or we can do rushed and it'll be completed in 34 days. But it'll be lower expertise, so our engineers are going to get less experience overall. I think we'll just go with normal. It's not going to be done in time, but we do want that for future circuits anyway. So let's just continue on to... Oh, we got an email. We've got a kickoff party. Now, we could spend... It's $10,000, but it improves driver morale. And you do want good morale at the start of a season. There's not really much reason to say no unless we were starving for cash, which we're not. We've got 25 million right now. So, let's just go with it. Right. After the testing results... Well... Yeah, it's pretty much what we expected. With 15th for top speed, 15th for acceleration. Overall, not great. Yeah, I like how it says, we'll attach a report below detailing car's performances. Uses information to guide our car part design strategy. Yeah, we need everything. Alright, time to start the race weekend. Let's go to race prep. We've already reviewed everything. We can't change anything right now as far as car parts go, because we don't have anything. 100% chance of a safety car. Historically. So, that'll be interesting. Alright. Right, so, practice 1. Let's get to it. First things first, drivers need to get acclimatized to the track. They need to get to know their car. And they need to figure out their setup confidence. Or rather, get more confident with the setup. Now, our current setup is not tested. So, but we can change all of these things. So we can change around some car parts. We can swap around with tire compounds. We can change the car setup. Right now, we don't know what any of these are. We have a rough gauge of what the driver would prefer, but these gauges will shrink as their knowledge improves, and then they'll have better confidence. Better confidence is sometimes better than actual best setup, if that makes sense. But you want the driver to know. And of course, every driver has a different preference. It's all down to how they drive. Now you can start changing these, and you can see the effect that will make. So we want to up our front wing angle. That can give us like maximum front wing angle. Can do a little bit of toe out. Gonna bring it along there. Maybe do some anti-roll bar distribution there. Swap the rear angle, kind of reduce the rear wing. Stuff like that. And it's all a balance, really. So we can start running a practice of 15 laps and see where they get on with that. And we'll keep everything neutral for Daniel Ricciardo here. And let's get to the practice. Now the options you have are managing it yourself, or simulating it, or you can simulate the entire thing all the way to qualifying if you want to. For practice sessions, you may want to do that, but we'll just get into it and see what this is like first.
Radio check.
Yep, radio is good, track's good.
I do like that they have the actual driver voices as well. So let's watch Daniel as he goes out. First one's out, of course. And practice is really also the time that you get to dial in the car. Right, so I've got our driver controls down here, and these are the same during the race too. So you can get him to be very aggressive, you can use more fuel. You can also get him to use the ERS, which is the energy recovery system. Kind of like a little electric boost. You can get him to deploy it, and that will drain the battery down, but gives him more speed. Or you can get it to charge up, and so on. You've got all these controls in place. And you've got all these different camera views. Look at this. So now we're sitting on top of Daniel Ricciardo's head, which I'm sure he appreciates very much. You can see even the little detail on the steering wheel and everything. It's actually amazing. Hello, rear wing. Look at Lando Norris. Look at him. Look at him all the way back there. Little DRS wing opening and closing. See, I thought it looked a little bit strange where it takes like literally one frame for the wing to open and close, but when you look at it on the actual car, it is actually that fast. So I can't fault it for being too fast, can I? I gotta say, the sensation of speed is incredible. And I don't think I've ever played any manager game that really kind of looked and felt like this. Just having a look at the map and seeing where everyone stands right now. There's a lot more cars on the track. Like, everyone's out on the track right now, so it's getting a little bit crowded. Alright, I'm not really sure exactly where we want to be, but I think this is pretty close to what we're looking at. Potentially, somewhere around here. But we're going to send him out again. And, yeah, we'll put him on some new tires. And we're going to go out for 5 laps and see how we do. Alright, so Daniel Ricciardo is ready. Let's send him out. And see how he does.
Copy. Remember the pit lane speed limiter. Pit lane speed limiter.
Alright, and Danny Rick is back in the garage. And we need to figure out his setup. So far, confidence not known, but apparently cornering good. I'm not quite sure how that works. If I'm honest, it's quite well out of that range. I just don't know, like, the straights is definitely very good. So we've gotten that part down. So we just need to figure out the cornering situation. Alright, that's practice 1 over. And we actually have a pretty decent time so far. 1:33.9, just behind Max Verstappen, because of course we're just behind Max Verstappen. Danny Rick, unfortunately, all the way down here, but you know what? I think we can improve on that. I think we can. We'll figure it out. I do want to point out that all that we're doing with the car setup and everything like that, it really only improves the base skills of that driver. So you can actually see on the right there where that actually goes to the driver's skills themselves. So if the driver itself doesn't have particularly great skills, it's not really going to make a difference if you give him a fantastic car. And that's actually really nicely simulated in this. So yeah, you can actually see, like, okay, Lando has well higher control stats than Danny Ricciardo, but they do have pretty even across the board everything else. Almost. Okay, maybe he's got better braking. But you know what? Like, it improves their stats, and that's what you want. Alright, practice over. And where are we sitting? 13th and 14th. So, some improvement. Not a lot, but we can have a look at our setup. We do have some performance bonus already, just from the track acclimatization, which they managed to get, but the car parts knowledge not quite there. But his confidence in his setup is 91%. That is actually really, really good. 73% is not bad as well, so some improvement here. I don't know if I'm going to touch Danny Rick's setup that much, but Lando, maybe we could do something with that.
Daniel, radio check.
Okay, radio check.
Sessions should be starting now.
Alright, and away we go on to qualifying. So now that we're actually in qualifying, there's a number of things that we can't change on the car setup anymore, because those items are locked due to the race rules. So the only thing we can really change is the front wing angle. So you want to make sure everything is dialed in as much as possible before you make any changes. Or before you get into qualifying, I should say. Right now our timing is pretty good. So we want to actually just wait on the other teams to do their runs before we actually want to change anything. So let's have a look at Lando's setup. And we can see he's got 86% confidence. We don't have any feedback on that, but it's 86% confidence, which is about as good as we're going to get for now. So probably more time spent with his car in practice would have been a good idea, just to kind of narrow that down. But I think more or less we've got it about right. And you can see both cars' setups are largely similar. So, but there are going to be some minor differences between the two drivers, and that's just going to be the way it goes. So you want to kind of just make sure you dial it in as close as possible in practice before you get into qualifying for that. Okay, where are we? After qualifying, hang on, I've completely confused myself. So we are all the way at the back here. That... yeah, that didn't go well. But we did reach Q2. So that is something. Now, here's where race versus everything else is a little bit different, because we have our race strategy. And so this is where you can set up your tire strategy, where you expect to pit. And these, of course, can change. You can pit at any time. You're not stuck to these particular times that you want. So if we want, let's go with, we want something a little more aggressive, so we can move up the pack a little bit. Or we can go with something a little safer, where we start on the soft tires, go to the hard tires, and then finish on soft tires again. And so this will allow us to stay out longer, or as long as possible, before we have to pit. Could be good if we want to... The idea here is that, of course, you want to wait for everybody else to pit and then take their position. Or we can fight for it with setup A. I think we're going to go with setup B. Just because it's a little bit safer. We can make our own strategy, so if I want to, I can decide, hey, stint 2, I want... we can set our pace target as well, so if I want more aggressive all the way, that will actually change what these profiles kind of look like. So if we go with a Not an intermediate. We'll go with a medium. You can see we're going to be really low on tires at the end there. Here, it's not so bad. But we kind of want to ease up a little bit so that we're within our 30% range. We can afford to be a lot more aggressive on the soft tires. And we're going to go with that. Now for Lando, since he's a little bit further out in front, I want him to be... You know what, let's go with the mediums for him. And instead I'm going to modify that as well. Actually no, these pace targets are good. So we'll stay with that. Yeah, we'll stay with that. Okay, now things can change. There may be safety cars, there may be incidents, there may be weather. Actually, in this case, I don't think we're going to have to deal with weather. So, you can modify your strategy as you go along. You don't have to stick to this, but this gives you reminders. Think of it as setting an alarm clock for yourself. Except this is a lap-based alarm clock, which would be a very weird way to wake up. But if you set that timing exactly like that, then you now have a notification and a pit window that'll appear. So this line here, this is the optimal lap. And then this horizontal line is the sort of window that you want to be in. So you can go a little earlier, a little later. But yeah, that's where the strategy all just comes into it. And it's really, really nice. It's nice that this is an actual thing. You don't have to do it on the fly. It's all there. It's almost like this game is really well thought out.
Here we go with the Bahrain Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Oh, I love the sound of that. And here we are in the race. That's a lot of cars. So, of course, go aggressive. I gotta say, though, if it wasn't for the controls at the bottom, this would be indistinguishable from an actual F1 race on TV. Like, from certain angles, this hits that sweet spot where it actually looks like the real thing. And I'm not saying that just because Frontier gave me a key. I'm actually saying, like, at a certain angle, if you were just to take a passing look at this game, it would look exactly like the real thing. And it's kind of crazy that that's the day and age that we live in now, where this is possible. Oh, and there's the overtake! There it is! Go, 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 go!
Hold on, mate.
We got one position, but I feel like he's gonna come and take it back. Potentially. I don't know. I think the commentary is a little bit behind, because it comes up with the replay notification if you want to watch the replay.
Watch this. There's Schumacher.
So, what the fuck just happened? I'm very confused.
Goodness me. There they go. Moving ahead of the other
Oh.
driver.
Okay. So, yeah,
How to lock up.
Danny Rick just completely locked up and flew right off the track. Alright, and we're into the last stint of this race. 44 laps in out of 57. Trying to keep Lando as far ahead as possible, and of course, we've had some ups and downs this race, but yeah, we've kind of maintained our position.
Yeah, confirm.
And I'm just wondering if we can maybe make it through. We're not really sure. We just got a fastest lap. And that's actually worth a point, I think. So we should be good for that.
Okay, mate, nice work.
Confirm.
Alright, and we're starting to see a whole bunch of pits now. So this is the time. This is the time to push. We gotta push. We gotta push.
100% pace now.
Push as much as we can to hopefully get...
Use the overtake button.
Okay.
Get as far ahead as we can.
As well.
Oh, there we go, right up in there. Can we just beat Hamilton? Oh, not quite. Not quite. But that was good. That was good.
Flying now.
That was good. We just need to now keep our distance. Because this is well within the points. I want it.
Ocon has also pitted.
Ooh, can we gain one more spot here? I don't know. Because Daniel's the only one who's not lapped yet. Considering that is definitely the leader right behind him. Somehow he's not being lapped yet. I don't quite know how that's happening. And there it is. The final lap. And we just lost P7.
This is the last lap.
Oh, we're going. We don't have the fuel, we don't have the ERS, we don't have the tires, we don't have anything to overtake George Russell with. I'm pretty sure he's got it now. There is literally nothing I can do. Honestly, the racing between Lando and the two Mercedes up ahead is so close. The only thing is now, I'm a little bit worried about Yuki Tsunoda kind of creeping up there, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to get anywhere close to us as we cross the line.
If you want to.
Still a good result.
Great job, mate.
But hey, we aimed for 8th, and we got 8th. I mean, to be fair, I was aiming higher, but you know what? When you're starting in 15th and 16th, there's not a lot you can do beyond there.
And that's good enough work from Lando Norris this weekend. McLaren showed some good stuff here today, but they'll be building on that now to try and improve their results next time.
There's no rest for F1 team. Let's hope their hard work can get them closer to exceeding
And you know what?
expectations in the next race.
I guess this kind of goes to
The
show,
end this weekend in 5th place in the Constructor standings.
The teams
if
now
the
look
team
forward
is
to the
my
next
favorite,
round, where they'll duel
it
out
means
for
we're
the
never
Circuit
going
of
to
Saudi
win.
Arabia.
My name is Panzer, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.